Welcome back. Well, inflation at an all-time high under the Biden regime. In fact, it's the highest we've seen in this nation in 40 years, folks. Some of you maybe remember it. Some of you don't. But it's here. Even though the denier-in-chief keeps saying every day it's temporary or it's not that bad. No, it's here. In November, consumer prices rose 6.8%. This as gas prices, as you well know. So do I. Every time we fill up, are at an all-time high. The national average price right now, $3.35. I know for folks in the heartland, that is crushing when they're used to paying about $2 or less. In California, we're paying like $5.50 at some gas stations. Meantime, Alaska, check this out, $3.85. Arizona, $4. As I said, California, we're paying $4.89 as an average, pretty much $5. Yeah. Idaho, a place that usually does not see high gas prices, $3.80. Everything's up, folks. Everything. Prices on the rise. Again, highest we've seen in 40 years. And what's Joe Biden say? It's temporary. No big deal. It'll all go away. It's going to go away soon. They're lying to you, folks.
And the data shows that most of the price increases we've seen were expected and are expected to be temporary.
But I think over the medium term, we'll see inflation decline back toward normal levels.
It's highly unlikely that's going to be long-term inflation that's going to get out of hand.
If you take out those three categories, we've actually seen price increases that are more in line with historical norms.
The faster than expected increase in some of those prices is actually a good sign.
This is something that will settle down.
Transitory.
President Biden's chief of staff, Ron Klain, enthusiastically retweeted an economist who had said in part most of the economic problems we're facing, inflation, supply chains, etc., are high-class problems.
There's nobody suggesting there's unchecked inflation on the way.
What is the Granholm plan to increase oil production in America?
Oh my God. That is hilarious.
The tragedy of the treadmill that's delayed.
Right, the treadmill.
They're good at lying. Seth Denson is a business and marketing analyst and the co-founder and chief strategist at GDP Advisors. I want to welcome him back to the program to talk about how temporary this just little spurt of inflation has become over the last 11 months under this regime. Seth, welcome back. It's not temporary. It's not just a little bit of inflation, and it's not going away anytime soon. Am I right on those three counts?
Yeah, Dan, I think you're spot on there. And here's the reality. When inflation shifts, so let's say it's at 6.8 now, let's say we get back to the normal 2%. That doesn't mean deflation. Let's be very clear on that. It just means stuff goes up less fast. But the United States, by and large, has only seen a couple of periods or a few periods of deflation in our history. So it's not likely that these prices are ever going to go back down. It's just a matter of how much they go up less fast. Now, mind you, sure, gas prices, they do tend to fluctuate. But nonetheless, the average of those things that we buy, we are now setting the new norm. And that's going to be the price going forward, by and large. And so no matter how this administration wants to spend it, someone's going to have to define for me what transitory really means, or at least what it was supposed to mean.
Yeah, because I like paying $4.99 for my slab of bacon instead of $7 or $8.99, which we're seeing in California. And if that's the new normal, I guess I'll have to give it up. And I'm making,
well, don't do that.
I shouldn't be flipping a joke about giving up bacon, because let's be real. These prices, Seth, are crushing families who are struggling to get by. Small business owners who were already struggling to keep their doors open over the last 2 years during the COVID pandemic. So, I mean, for them to just be so flippant about it, and I mean the Biden regime, and act like this is temporary, it's not that bad, it's going to go away soon. I've had on other economists, Seth, and market analysts, all of them are telling me we could see a solid year of this inflation, maybe more. What's your expert opinion?
I certainly don't see it going down anytime soon, and here's why. Listen, the simplest, from my Texas way, the simplest way of defining inflation is too much money chasing too few things. And until we get our supply chains back online, you mentioned small business owners and working class families, the impact there. The supply chain is hurting those folks too, specifically small business owners, because let's say that they can keep their prices stable or even pass it along to their consumers. They can't get the stuff to pass along to those consumers. So it's a double whammy for those working class families, middle class families, even upper class families. Everybody's paying more and they're getting less for it. So this inflationary period is not going to change, and it's compounded by two issues, right? One is what I mentioned earlier, too many dollars chasing too few things. But I'll tell you the secondary piece of this is monetary policy out of the Fed, which quite frankly is intending to play more politics than they are making good policy.
Yeah, let's talk about the spending, because we did hear, I think it was Miss Yellen there, she was in one of the clips there, downplaying inflation like everybody in the Biden regime. But she was caught under oath just the other week when someone directly asked her, I think it was on a Senate panel, if in fact the Build Back Better, all of the extra spending packages and bills this regime's been pushing through, the big COVID relief packages, all the spending we've done, all this just printing money up, did it in fact help, or not help rather, but add to inflation? And she finally did say yes, because she was under oath. So if we just keep spending money, and again, they're pushing to spend more billions right now in Washington, that's not going to help, does it?
No, it certainly doesn't. Let's break this apart in two ways. First, you got to recognize what the Fed is doing. So the Fed is pumping $100 billion. That's after they've tapered that down from $120 billion. So they're pumping $100 billion into the economy each and every month. You couple that with a federal government and Congress, and listen, I'll call out Republicans and Democrats on this, who throw around money like a rock star in a nightclub. I mean, they are literally spending money over money, and fortunately, we have a few folks in there now who are at least trying to hold that, or at least pull that back. But nonetheless, we continue to spend. The Fed continues to print, and the American taxpayer, and I will tell you, my grandchildren, we're way past my kids at this point. My grandchildren are left holding the tab.
Yeah. So also, I think we had an economist on last week who said that the numbers we're getting are inaccurate, that inflation is much higher than the, what are they saying, 6.8. It's more like double digits. It's more like Carter era stuff that we saw late 70s, right into the 80s when Reagan took over and was trying to get us back on track. Where do you think we actually stand with inflation right now?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm quite to the 19 up to 22% that we saw during the Carter administration, that thank heavens we had a Ronald Reagan that followed that and put monetary policy and government policy on track. But nonetheless, I think we're probably in that double digit, though. I do think that we're probably in the 10 to 11, 12% of real inflation. When I talk about real inflation, I'm talking about those actual dollars that everyday Americans are spending. Now, the Biden administration talks about wage growth, but listen, our wages are growing. If we would need to triple the rate or quadruple the rate of our wages growing to keep up with that. So I think we're in double digits. If you just take the headline of the 6.8%, that compounded growth by itself is an annualized rate of over 10% of increased cost.
I try to find this out for the viewers' sake, but I don't know if there is an answer. Your solutions that would help things get back on track sooner rather than later, which I highly doubt the Biden regime will listen to any of your advice, Seth, but you are a market analyst, you are an economist. These are things that I don't think they've hired anyone in this cabinet level positions under the Biden regime that know what in the hell they're doing when it comes to this economy, because again, pumping money in and printing money is not working. So a couple seconds left. What's 2-3 things you do immediately to try and get inflation to come down? I know one of them would be, let's produce our own energy again. How about some oil and natural gas, right? That'd help. Anyway, go ahead.
Absolutely. No, listen, Dan, you're right on the money there. We need to do more in America, right? So drill, baby, drill. We got to get that oil back online, that natural gas production, all of that. Secondary is we need Fed policy that's going to raise interest rates. That's not a fun thing for the stock market, but it is the right thing to do. And quite frankly, for seniors and those living on fixed income, that's going to be a positive thing. So we need to raise interest rates. And quite frankly, from a supply chain, maybe let's get a Secretary of the Transportation that actually knows a little thing about supply chain chain management and understand we need to open up ports. We need to influence trucking to try to increase volume capabilities, and we need to stop demonizing that industry and actually prop it up. That's where stimulus dollars needs to go, is right there.
Come on, Seth. Running a little town like South Bend, Indiana doesn't prepare you to run the massive transportation goings-on of an entire country? Please.
His nickname wasn't Pothole Pete for nothing.
That's true. I've been through South Bend. Great town, great people. Not so great mayor. Seth Denson, appreciate you so much. The co-founder and chief of strategists at GDP Advisors. Always appreciate the expertise. Take care, brother.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
Appreciate you.